normally go with like the football numbers, and I
Yeah.
was just like, I feel like this game is going to be weird.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to pick the weirdest number I could come up with.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
13 minutes after 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. Wow, it just turned into an incredibly busy and eventful Wednesday here on 107.5 The Game. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris, here with you. We just heard an hour. Shane Beamer introducing the new OC. Dow Loggins got to hear from Dow Loggins. Some Shane Beamer thoughts on the transfer portal, on recruiting in more of a general sense, keeping his team together. A lot to get to. I mean, it was an hour straight of just a lot of interesting notes. So Preston, let's go ahead and start with you. There were gesticulations and reactions. We need a live stream of just your reactions when we listen to these press conferences.
Yeah, because it's usually like blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. What did you just say? That's basically how my brain works throughout the conversation. Yeah, man. Shane turned the lights off and came out stomping down the aisle like Hayne. He was a heel.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, I'm telling all you, brother, you better get ready." I was really shocked. I didn't feel like, and it was really interesting coming straight off. I'm really sorry about Mike Leach, but listen here, brother.
Yeah,
you don't know who I know. I thought it was fascinating.
He was like working himself up too, like with like each sentence, it was building on the. Like if he had kept going, I think his head would have finally
crescendo.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And in that moment, just of defiance, calling out Gene for the article that he wrote this morning that I thought was a very good article, because Gene's a very good reporter and has been for a very long time around here. I could feel myself digging my heels in, like, all right, like, let's go. We're going to war on this thing. Clearly, I've staked my claim to the other side of this argument. And then here comes Dow Loggins, reminding himself of people's names, getting spellings. Hey, where are you from? Eagles fan here, Browns fan here. And it's like, this is why this guy just commands a room. You can tell he knows how to interact with people. Immediately charmed everybody in that room, everybody listening, and even mentioned some football things in there that seemed to get your attention.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that they always mention and nobody talks about, I don't think we neglected this idea, is that football fields in college and football fields in the NFL are completely different surfaces, and that dictates play calling. That dictates that's why you don't see a bunch of trips formations in the NFL. That's why you pretty much see everything is balanced, because those hashes are really tight and they're different size hashes. So yeah, that was the first obvious thing. I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Chris, an hour. Shane Beamer said a lot. Dow Loggins said a lot. What caught your attention?
Well, I think one thing we know is that Shane Beamer, he wears his emotions on his sleeve, right? Like all the time. And that can be with how he celebrates big wins, which we saw, at the end of the year. This job means so much to him. So that's why he does get emotional about those things. And I think for Gamecock fans, they should probably be thrilled that they have a coach that does care so much. It's not just a job. And you can say, I'm good with him conducting a press conference that way. I'm not good with him conducting a press conference that way. Like, I've seen already on the Insiders Forum, a variety of opinions about that. But I do think one thing I would hit on, this isn't anything he said about Dow Loggins or, who's going to call plays for the bowl game or whatever. This is a smaller thing, but also more of a big picture item. And that is that we know that Shane Beamer is going to go to bat, so to speak, for his program. And so it is kind of interesting that some things have happened since the Clemson game that people are having they're putting out negative perceptions about it, whether that's losing a couple guys off your commitment list, whatever you think of the offensive coordinator hire. And he's very clearly irritated by the fact that people, think that they're losing momentum. And I think he is trying to bring it back to what they have accomplished, which I think is fair also. The whole sky is falling mentality is kind of interesting. Like,
someone here wrote a book about that.
It's crazy. You would never know.
Yeah. Maybe Preston should be the one that talks more about this point. But it is. I mean, it's kind of, you've seen this a lot from Shane Beamer, in that it's kind of like after they lose a game this year. It's always such a week to week process. That's one of the interesting, funny, kind of cool, sometimes kind of not cool things about college football is it's so week to week, live or die every single week, and how it can be so up and down. And people had kind of given up on the program, frankly, after the Florida game because that was really, really bad. And they respond, well, will Shane Beamer lose the locker room? Well, clearly not. Look at what they did at the end of the year. And so I think, it seems like he has some frustrations with the tone right now in Columbia, given what they've done, and that people are, writing things and saying things about his offensive coordinator hire when the guy hasn't called a play yet. And I think it's interesting.
Maybe had frustrations, hopefully had frustrations. I hope that was cathartic for Shane Beamer. Like you could see the steam coming out of his ears. It was like, I guess it was like, what was that? Was that when Majin Buu turned into Super Buu? And it's just like the steam coming out of his ears, and it's just the anger just takes on a life of its own. I could see that. I hope that was some relief for Shane Beamer. In terms of Dow Loggins, I don't even say this to like be perverse, although people are going to take it that way. Maybe my favorite thing that I heard from Dow Loggins, Wes, being completely honest about what happened when he was on the other sideline from South Carolina. Arkansas, yeah, we were just better than you guys. We beat you guys. We were surprised you finished the season. And it was, I mean, not even a backhanded compliment, but a very interesting way to describe just how much he believes in this program. Hey, we were at somewhere that just beat your ass. Like the only reason, there's no good reason for me to come here other than how much I believe in everything that's happening here. I thought that was a very interesting way to make what I thought was an interesting point overall.
Yeah, and I think part of that point was the way that Beamer sort of kept the everybody pulling in the same direction for the most part during the season, and was able to bounce back from some early hurdles and finish the year the way they did. And I for one appreciated the fact that he was like, I'm not going to just give you all the coaching cliches about we want to be balanced, we want to run the football. How many OCs or head coaches talking about offense say we want to run the ball and throw the ball? And I'm like, no, like of course you do. So he said, I'm not going to give you the coaching cliches about what we want to do on offense. And he took it to a point that Chris and I have talked about on GC Live. A lot of what South Carolina does in the next 12 months, I think, is going to be directly impacted by what number 7, Spencer Rattler, decides to do going into next season. So I thought him bringing that up and just being honest about that of, hey, I want to see what Spencer Rattler does. I think is going to be a big part of this conversation moving forward. But I also, you mentioned Pearson, how he sort of won over the room and, was able to connect with people. That's something, as I've gathered more information on him and his time at Arkansas, that I've sort of picked up on. I mentioned yesterday that he just sort of has been a natural recruiter for them the last couple of years because he connects with people. And I was listening to a podcast. Anybody else who's like really deep into this stuff and wants to learn more about him, you can go find it as well. It's called the Hog Pod with Bo Mattingly. It's like an Arkansas thing where they sat down with Dow a year or two ago, and it was talking about how he literally like did the Arkansas camp when he was in, I guess would have been like JV ball through high school ball. He camped at Arkansas like 9 years in a row. And just basically by the time it was time for him to go to college, they let him walk on. Like he literally is like my height. Like he's like 5'6", 5'7". He wasn't going to get
He was a Jason Brown of Arkansas camp.
Like he was not going to get a D1 scholarship, but he knew he was an Arkansas guy, and he knew he wanted to one day be a coach. So walking on at Arkansas was like the his dream, or playing for Arkansas was a dream. But also part of that was he wanted to learn from within a big time program in order to further himself as a coach. So he basically, by the time he was coming out, actually knew the coaches because he just had a way of kind of connecting with them. And they're like, yeah, you can walk on. It wasn't like, even like from the way they described it, that he was recruited to walk on. It was like he sort of recruited himself to walk on.
Yeah.
And then he got there. He looked around. He said, I'm never going to play quarterback here. What can I do to get on the bus? How can I travel? And he starts looking around. He says, I can hold. So he starts working to make himself the best holder he can possibly be, because he was like, that's my only way that I'm ever going to get to dress and travel
and run out the tunnel at Arkansas. So he basically pushes his way into being their holder and eventually actually did get on the field late in his career at QB. But all this was basically his curiosity of saying, what do I have to do to reach what I want to be? So I thought there's something you can kind of glean from his personality and his approach to life from that. And then I thought it was sort of apparent with all right, so you're the Eagles fan, you're the Browns fan, finding a way to connect with people.
Yeah.
The people that are really good.
Politician.
Yeah, people that are really good conversationalists will be like, all right, what do I have in common with that person? Let me bring that up. And that starts the conversation.
Yeah, repeating someone's name. Sounds like Wes is already on board to direct the 30 for 30 about Dow Loggins. It'll be out in just a couple of years. 803
From humble beginnings, Horatio Agro pulled himself up.
Just wouldn't go away. Wouldn't stop going to Arkansas camp. Like, you're 25. You can leave now. No. I'm here. I'm here to stay, guys. Love Chevy phone line, Firehouse Subs text line. Want to remind you too, South Carolina men's basketball tonight, traveling to UAB, and tomorrow Lamont Paris call-in show right here on 107.5 The Game. 6 o'clock is when that starts. If you want to hear Coach's reaction to the game tonight, looking ahead to the weekend as well, right here on 107.5 The Game. With that in mind, let me go ahead and do this. Pair of men's basketball tickets for this weekend. The Gamecocks are going to be playing in Greenville against East Carolina. If you would like pair of tickets to go to that game, be caller number 5 right now at 803-404-6100. A pair of men's basketball tickets this weekend. The game is in Greenville, 2 o'clock tip time, 803-404-6100. I'll give you the tickets if you're caller number 5, and we'll have more reaction to Dow Loggins' introductory press conference next.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen.
You know, you look at the way they recruit, and you can kind of make your mark. Hello?
No, I was listening. I was listening to Red's take on the whole situation.
Exactly.
That was a very spirit. Either Red completely disagreed with you or was behind you cheering. That's my dad. That's a great point, Dad. You keep making that point.
He's gotten bad, man. He's like, he follows me outside, and then he wants a treat, and he barks until I give him a treat, and half the time he keeps barking. So I don't know.
It sounds like working with Bill first thing every morning.
It is kind of. I really bother Jen until I get a treat each and every morning. So
He begs a lot.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Dancing crew, trip for 2, nailed the final interview. Game with Doug, brand new mug. Come here, kid, give me a hug. The more you want to do, the more we want to do. New COVID-19 boosters designed for recent Omicron variants are now available. Learn about eligibility and schedule a free updated booster today at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Up at the dealership, people pause. Out comes good old trade-in clause. The perfect time of year to upgrade your ride. Trade in your car while the values are high. Ho, ho, ho. Bring your old sleigh to Galliana Kia on Greystone, because we'll take any trade, regardless of condition. Are you stuck in a loan or lease? We'll get you released, even if you're over mileage, have months left, or still owe thousands. And if you're currently leasing a Kia, we'll give you up to $1,000 cash to turn it in early. You can buy a new Kia with zip, zero, zilch, nothing down, and 0 payments for the next 3 months. If you've got a job and make at least $2,000 per month, Galliana Kia has lenders that can get you approved. 'Tis the Kia season of giving back sales event. Galliana Kia on Greystone, I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Real stock number 3K1107. 0 down, $279 per month for 84 months at 6.9 APR. Price plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity finance to new loan subject to lender approval. Expires January 3rd.
People who serve in the military are hardworking and reliable. Back again with Travis Bedson, the owner of CNT Foundations.
That's so true, Gary. And we're proud that nearly a third of our team is former military.
So when you have a foundation problem, you can trust that CNT Foundations will be there when they say, and CNT Foundations will do what they say too. Call 803-805-8044. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right, we'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Just mix a packet of Eucora with water and drink it when you need support, like right after intimacy. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
A reindeer pooped and I'm stranded. All the little girls and boys are waiting on their toys.
Chill, Santa. We'll call Schroeder's Towing. When you need a tow fast, call Schroeder's Towing 24/7, and they'll take you and your car home. Schroeder's Towing will haul anything you got to anywhere you want. Heavy equipment, coaches, buses, forklifts, even a sleigh full of toys. 772-7930. SchroedersTowing.com.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
O'Reilly. Protect your vehicle's engine with Syntec at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines to dissipate heat and reduce friction and wear. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec Full Synthetic and a MicroGuard Select Oil Filter for just $33.99. Try Syntec today, exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
31 minutes after 11 o'clock Wednesday morning. Welcome back in, not just to the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, but a very special Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, and not even like a very special episode of your favorite TV show, but just this is now the musical version of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. We're going to sing all the rest of our takes and opinions. That's what we did during the entire break. This is when it's a real shame that this is not a live web stream like during the break kind of show, because y'all would have enjoyed hearing mostly Wes and Chris and Preston sing. Beautiful dulcet tones coming out of the Herndon Chevy studio over there. A lot to get to, a lot from Shane Beamer, a lot from Dow Loggins. I want to start with one maybe overextended bit of reading between the lines, something that I heard from Dow Loggins that I thought was very interesting. But before we get into that, Wes needs to remind everybody about Kendall Walsh.
I do. My good friend Kendall Walsh, she's my realtor. She can be yours as well. She is here locally with the Moore Company, 803-414-3590. Work with Walsh at gmail.com. Also at Work with Walsh on Twitter or Instagram, whichever you prefer. Give her a shout, shoot her a text. It's no obligation if you are in the market for a new home, or maybe you're just kind of wondering what options you might have out there. Give Kendall a call. She helped me and my wife through the process of buying a home. She can do the same for you. Or if maybe you want to sell your house and then buy, the next home as well, she can do that too. So lots going on in the housing market. It's up, it's down, but she can help you every single step of the way. Again, 803-414-3590. That's Kendall Walsh with the Moore Company, sponsor of our buy or sell, which we need to think of some new ways, I feel like, to implement buy or sell to non-Gamecock football for, I guess, a couple weeks here
Well, how
before
about
we
this?
get to
Buy or sell after 20 minutes, Dal Loggins as the OC for Carolina. Because it seems like based on the text line and Twitter, everybody's buying right now.
Yeah, well, and I think let's be honest, y'all. This is one of those things. We talked about this yesterday on our podcast. A lot of Gamecock fans freak out when there's a hire, and then a lot of Gamecock fans, after hearing the guy, they're okay, this guy's sharp, and then they calm down. They're like, it goes the other way, and they're like, oh, this guy, it's a can't miss, you know. So it overcorrects basically. But I will say this: I will no spin. It's going to sound a little homer, but I told Chris when we walked in, I was like, I just have a good feeling about that guy for South Carolina. I don't really know that I can put a finger on it, and I will, if I'm dead wrong, I will completely own it 2 years from now when we're looking back, at what has happened. But I have it. I don't know. I think the guy is going to have a plan, and I liked what I heard, but it's not even really the press conference for me. It's just kind of a gut feeling. So bye.
One of his first tasks as he takes over now as the OC is going to be keeping the current roster intact, convincing guys like Spencer Rattler, Juice Wells to stay on board for another year, hit the recruiting trail, which people seem confident he's going to be able to do pretty quickly here for Carolina, working on the class of 2023, and then possibly even hitting the transfer portal pretty hard as well. But he was asked a couple variations of, what does your offense look like? What kind of stuff do you want to run? A couple variations of that question. And in there was always a, kind of want to be able to run it through the quarterback, which makes sense as a quarterback coach and the most important position on the field. But at one point he said something to the effect of, basically, I want to see what I have with Spencer. Now he's been hired for a couple of, well, I guess officially like a day. I don't know how this works. It sounds like he's already gotten to work and said he's been, grinding film and stuff the last couple of days. I don't know what conversations, if any, he has had with Spencer Rattler, but there was something about the way he was talking about that approach that makes me think, I wonder if he has a good sense, or has already had a conversation, or just feels confident about the fact that Spencer Rattler will be back at Carolina. It's been much speculated about, certainly. But what I heard, maybe reading between the lines, I wonder if Dal already has a pretty good sense that Spencer's going to be back next year.
Yeah, they have talked. I'm not sure if that was a conversation in person. It sounded like it might have been over the phone. That's speculation on my part. But they have talked. I think he maybe has an idea. I also am under the impression that Spencer hasn't completely actually made up his mind, but I think it was a good conversation from what we have heard. And I think there's some quiet confidence around the program that Spencer could be back. But yeah, I think it will also depend on the bowl game. It's going to depend on feedback with the NFL draft. And I did like the quote when he said this will be his biggest recruit since his wife, who I believe he met at Arkansas and was a cheerleader at Arkansas from what they were saying in the podcast. But very, very important. The biggest offseason recruit for South Carolina this season is Spencer Rattler. And I think, you talk about transfer portal. That's going to carry weight with a lot of these guys if South Carolina then can point to, hey, we've got Rattler coming back for next season as well.
Yeah. Y'all might not know this, and they might be separate decisions, but are Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells going to inform each other's decisions? Like, is it likely that whatever one does, the other will end up doing?
I don't know if this goes that far, and I don't want to speak for them, but you got to think, and those guys are tight. Not, kind of a little bit beyond just, the quarterback receiver thing. Like Juice this past offseason went out to Arizona and spent time with Spencer to kind of get on the same page with him going into this season. So I think they will both make individual decisions, but you got to think for Juice, if Rattler is back, then you got to think that's going to weigh a bit on his decision and making an easier decision potentially for him, especially if he's kind of leaning towards coming back. I think knowing the guy you put up big yardage and numbers with this year, with the potential to do even more next year, I think has got to weigh pretty heavily.
803-404-6100. That's the Love Chevy phone line number. Also, the Firehouse Subs text line number. And if you want to get any of us on Twitter, at Pearson Fowler, Coach B tweets, Wes Mitchell, GC, Chris Clark. There's a lot more to unpack throughout the course of the afternoon here on 107.5 The Game. We'll get you some audio for those of you that missed any or all of Shane Beamer and Dow Loggins' media availability. I'm sure it'll be up on the South Carolina Athletics YouTube page here pretty shortly as well. But we'll have plenty of sound for you throughout the day here on 107.5 The Game. Want to give you one more chance here this hour to win some basketball tickets. South Carolina women's basketball. I said South Dakota State yesterday. That one's on the road. I'm not giving you tickets to that. Someone texted afterwards. They're like, "Do we get a plane ticket with that?" My bad, guys. I was reading the liner and anyway, I'm not making excuses for myself. Carolina is at home this weekend, though. And if you would like a chance to win a pair of tickets to go see the Gamecocks back at the Colonial Life Arena this weekend, Sunday afternoon, be caller number 5 right now, 803-404-6100, and you will have a chance to win a pair of women's basketball tickets for the home game this Sunday, 803-404-6100. Caller number 5, good luck, and a lot more on Dow Loggins next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
With COVID-19 still present in our community, the South Carolina Department on Aging hopes you and your loved ones stay safe during this time. We encourage older adults, family caregivers, and adults living with disabilities to learn more about how the COVID-19 vaccine can help protect against severe illness or death. For more information on how to keep you and your family safe, call the national hotline at 1-800-232-0233. That's 800-232-0233.
Hi, folks. Johnny Stivers here for the all-new Stivers Hyundai. Our 50,000 square foot facility is complete with a massive 2-story showroom, climate-controlled service drive, a quick service facility for your regular maintenance needs, and a huge, comfortable waiting room to rest or get work done while you wait. Now, through the end of the month, I've got 0% on most vehicles, and we have a huge inventory right now with more on the way. You'll never pay over sticker for one of my cars. So, Columbia, when you think Hyundai, think Stivers Hyundai on the corner of Faro and Killian Road, where price sells cars.
Here's Bill McDaniel of McDaniel's Auto Group for the Hood Team.
Danny and I had a sale earlier this year, and I don't care when I called him, night, morning, evening, Danny is always there. Then when you put together the kind of people that Danny Hood is and Karen and William, you've got an awesome real estate team.
I'm Danny Hood.
And I'm Karen Hood.
And I'm William DiMaggio. We're the Hood team at Coldwell Banker Realty. Give us a call
at 803-730-2512.
or online at thehoodteam.com.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real, lasting relief from QC Kinetics. Hey, it's Bill Gunner. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols using healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids. And say no to those pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. This is the future of joint pain management, and appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
Mark your calendars. The Chick-fil-A Classic Basketball Tournament returns this December. This year's event is happening December 27th through 30th at River Bluff High School in Lexington. The Chick-fil-A Classic is renowned as one of the top high school tournaments in the nation. For information, visit ChickFilAClassic.com. Don't miss the opportunity to watch tomorrow's college and professional athletes in action at this year's Chick-fil-A Classic. Brought to you in part by the town of Lexington, Lexington County, and the South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism.
And paid for by OpenChar Concepts. Attention firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was exposed to AFFF and were diagnosed with any of these cancers, including kidney, bladder, prostate, pancreatic, lymphoma, leukemia, testicular, and neuroendocrine, then you should call us immediately because you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call us at 800-598-2973. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us now. 800-598-2973. Operators are standing by 24/7. So don't wait. 800-598-2973. That's 800-598-2973. Again, 800-598-2973.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option. But then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 573-545-5588. That's 573-545-5588. 573-545-5588.
Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got them, they work well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. John at Dan's Fan City wants to remind you to make your ceiling fan move in reverse this time of year to keep the heat off the ceiling. See John for any questions and for all of your ceiling fan needs. Go to Dan's Fan City in Harbison or call them at 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
If you're thinking about retiring soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Struby of Preservation Specialists. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through Kalos Capital Incorporated.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour, presented by Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler, Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell on the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
15 minutes in front of 12 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and welcome back into the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Pearson, Preston, Wes, Chris here with you. After just a tremendous amount of information and insight, Shane Beamer's press conference was today. I expected to hear a lot about his process and his thoughts on Dow Loggins. He gave us that in spades, a few thoughts on the bowl and just what has been an interesting offseason so far for South Carolina, but then got a chance to hear from Dow Loggins. For those of you that missed it, we'll have lots of sound for you throughout the course of the afternoon here on 107.5 The Game. We'll continue to react to it here since we just heard it fresh. Before we do that, though, I jumped the gun a little bit yesterday, Chris, but the Firehouse sub of the day today is, in fact, the New York Steamer. Is that correct?
That is
because yesterday was
correct.
the Turkey Bacon Ranch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think you did want to go with the Steamer yesterday. You were just a day ahead. You were excited about it. No problem. Speaking of jingles, we could come up with a jingle for Firehouse Subs and talk about the 14 different locations, the upcoming. We're excited. We're going to be there on Friday.
Yeah.
Grand opening in Orangeburg. And we could go Sunday through Monday, every single day of the week, and we could just rattle off a sub of the day. So today is the New York Steamer. Personal favorite of mine. If you've never had it, definitely try it out. And every single day, Firehouse Subs locations in the Midlands, again, there's 14 of them. They have the daily sub special, $5.99 for a small, $7.99 for a medium. Make sure you mention the specific daily special. Or you can try the new prime rib steak sub, which is also fantastic. Today is the New York Steamer. You can go into a Firehouse Subs location. You can order through the Rapid Rescue on firehousesubs.com, or you can even order directly here from the station, kind of, because you just text the Firehouse Subs text line.
Yeah.
803.
I'm not going to order your sandwich for you, but you'll get the link to order your own sandwich.
Yes, they will send you. It will not be Pearson fulfilling your order, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't need to be making sandwiches. So, yeah, check out, appreciate Firehouse Subs and their support of the show. Again, check out the daily sub special at one of 14 Midlands locations.
Sub of the day. Bop, bop. Here we go. I don't know which one of us is most musically inclined, but we'll get working on that jingle. Preston.
Yes.
I don't know. What'd you hear? What'd you like? What'd you hate?
Ooh, I heard a little defensiveness from our brother Shane.
Yep.
I liked Dow mentioning the dimensions of the college game and how that was different from the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the last one?
What'd you hate?
I hated Shane telling us that we don't need to pay attention to statistics. Because if we don't need to pay attention to statistics, then next time, Shane, with all due respect, hopefully you don't ever have to do this again because we'll be winning. But if you trot out the fourth quarter scores and the third round of, we're winning every game from the second to third quarter, and either stats matter or they don't. So I didn't like how he ignored the idea that that Dow hadn't been successful in the NFL.
Yeah. It needed to be addressed. It was addressed. I appreciate people asking about it.
I think one of the things, and I'm certainly not trying to speak for him, maybe the point was, and I'm just kind of guessing, that if you just read Wikipedia, you're not going to have a great, like at the end of the day, it is a bottom line thing. But if you look at, if your argument is Dow Loggins called plays for these years, and here's the results, it's actually not even an accurate argument, because we know, or you should know, if you've dug into it, that he wasn't even the play caller the vast majority of the time. So what you could say is he was associated with this offense, or he doesn't have enough collegiate experience, or things like that. But saying he was the play caller, I realize that was the title, but again, that goes back to the reading Wikipedia thing or a bio. You do have to, and so I have no problem with, people giving criticism or, looking at the stats or whatever. So I think that's very important, because you do need to see what are the results. But, as long as, be sure you're accurate about it.
Right. Well, but to me, and I guess this is to your greater point, like you have to be careful, and you have to pay attention to detail. Because if you're also saying, okay, well, 3 of his 4 stops were with Adam Gase, and if he wasn't responsible for calling plays in those 2 times when he was Gase's OC, then you're also, some of his credit as well. He's been an offensive coordinator. You can't say he's been an offensive coordinator at 4 different teams and also say he wasn't responsible for the play calls that didn't work there. So you can't have it both ways. I agree. Like there's often more to the story, and it sounded like the picture that Shane was painting in a little bit, the 20 minutes that we got there from Dow Loggins, there's going to be, kind of a personal value, a fit value. It's going to be someone that guys want to play for. Maybe he's going to more easily connect with the players on the offensive side of the ball than did Marcus Satterfield, who might be more of a wizard, who might have had more experience calling plays at the college level, who might be able to draw up anything on the playboard. But Preston, as you're fond of saying, you have not taught until they have learned. And there may have been a disconnect there. As smart as someone like Marcus Satterfield might be from a football perspective, maybe that communication comes easier to Dow Loggins.
Yeah, also, I think Dow made an interesting point about the amount of time difference that you have to spend on implementing a game plan in the NFL as opposed to college. But this is what also people I don't think about this often. Oftentimes, yes, the best athletes make it to the NFL, but they're often also the people with the highest football IQs. And so the way you can talk to somebody that's playing in the NFL, yes, we know that they're athletically off the charts, but what we don't associate is that probably that defensive lineman understands football at a higher level than just his other brethren that was playing with him at college. I think we don't take that into consideration enough at how much those dudes are into football, how much they understand and can process football more so than the average college player.
I don't mean to do this because I'm just going to do it. Text line here, unnamed texter, pointing out that Steve Spurrier was a terrible NFL head coach. So is Nick Saban. Can't go off stats from the NFL to justify the success of a coach in the college level. Both of those dudes have won freaking national championships in college. And I've seen that comparison a lot. People need to stop with that.
Yeah, and also they weren't terrible. They were mediocre, right?
Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dow would mind you not putting his name in the same category as Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban.
There are ways to defend Dow Loggins from the criticism that people have levied, in my opinion, fairly. That is not a constructive way. Like Ryan Russillo makes this great point always. He's like, if you're trying to make a point and you have like 2 really good points, stick with that. Don't try to tack on a third point that sucks, because then it makes your other arguments worse. Don't do that. So that's my advice to you. Dow Loggins, some of the criticism might be unfair. That's not why. But Appreciate it anyway. 803-404-6100. Firehouse Subs text line and the Love Chevy phone line. Twitter for all of us. Pearson Fowler, Coach Pete tweets, Wes Mitchell, GC Chris Clark. One more break and then some final thoughts here in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour on what has been a fun, busy Wednesday. A few more thoughts on Dow Loggins next.
More of the Extra Point coming up next on 107.5 The Game.
Hi, folks. Johnny Stivers here for the all-new Stivers Hyundai. Our 50,000-square-foot facility is complete with a massive two-story showroom, climate-controlled service drive, a quick service facility for your regular maintenance needs, and a huge, comfortable waiting room to rest or get work done while you wait. Now, through the end of the month, I've got 0% on most vehicles, and we have a huge inventory right now with more on the way. You'll never pay over sticker for one of my cars. So, Columbia, when you think Hyundai, think Stivers Hyundai on the corner of Faro and Killian Road, where price sells cars.
Mark your calendars. The Chick-fil-A Classic Basketball Tournament returns this December. This year's event is happening December 27th through 30th at River Bluff High School in Lexington. The Chick-fil-A Classic is renowned as one of the top high school tournaments in the nation. For information, visit ChickFilAClassic.com. Don't miss the opportunity to watch tomorrow's college and professional athletes in action at this year's Chick-fil-A Classic. Brought to you in part by the town of Lexington, Lexington County, and the South Carolina Parks, Recreation, and Tourism.
Hi, folks. Johnny Stivers here for the all-new Stivers Hyundai. Our 50,000-square-foot facility is complete with a massive two-story showroom, climate-controlled service drive, a quick service facility for your regular maintenance needs, and a huge, comfortable waiting room to rest or get work done while you wait. Now, through the end of the month, I've got 0% on most vehicles, and we have a huge inventory right now with more on the way. You'll never pay over sticker for one of my cars. So, Columbia, when you think Hyundai, think Stivers Hyundai on the corner of Faro and Killian Road, where price sells cars.
Some holiday parties are kind of... But with reimagined catering from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, your party can be... From munchies and dips to pizza, sandwiches, salads, boxed lunches, party trays, and desserts, our full-service catering menu is sure to create the holiday karma your party deserves. So don't stress out, cater in, and mellow out with the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Ad paid for by OpenChar Concepts. Attention firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters have military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown the chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was exposed to AFFF and were diagnosed with any of these cancers, including kidney, bladder, prostate, pancreatic, lymphoma, leukemia, testicular, and neuroendocrine, then you should call us immediately because you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call us at 800-598-2973. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call us now. 800-598-2973. Operators are standing by 24/7. So don't wait. 800-598-2973. That's 800-598-2973. Again, 800-598-2973.
Travis Bedson, owner of CNT Foundations.
The economy is floundering. Retirement accounts are plummeting. And if your home has a foundation problem, you might be putting off the repair. That's a bad idea. That is why CNT Foundations is now offering up to 2 years, same as cash, for qualified homeowners. That's right. Repair your home now and pay nothing for 2 years.
Call 803-805-8044. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts.
Finally, the holidays have arrived, but that means there's a lot to do to keep your house on track. So it's nice to know that the cleaning pros at Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning have my carpets covered this holiday season. With their all-natural, no-residue cleaner, I know my family is in good hands. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. Plus, when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you get a hallway clean for free. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
You've waited all year. Now it's here. The Big Finish sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Keep your cash for Christmas shopping and buy a new Chrysler or Jeep with zip, zero, nothing down, and 0 payments for the next 3 months. And exclusive of that offer, lease a 2022 Jeep Compass for just $299 per month. And get this, Galliana Chrysler Jeep has 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokees starting at $43,000. Plus, you can still custom order the exact Jeep you want for just $1 down and $1,000 below MSRP. Don't forget
forget, Galliana Chrysler Jeep will take any trade in any condition. Rusted, busted, can't be trusted. All trade-ins are welcome. So if you're interested in buying a new Chrysler or Jeep with zip, zero, nothing down, and 0 payments for the next 3 months. Gotta go to Galliana. Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Sioux Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Grand Cherokee stock number 37031. Compass stock number 29130. 39-month lease. $34.95 to its signing. No security deposit. Subject to lender approval. Offer still combined. Expires month end.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour.
Presented by Firehouse Subs. Founded by firemen with Pearson Fowler,
Chris Clark, and Wes Mitchell.
on the home of the Gamecocks.
107.5
The Game.
All right, just a couple minutes left here in the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. We did the best we could to catch back up after just a full hour of press conference, which was great. For those of you that missed it, we'll have lots of sound for you throughout the course of the afternoon. Plenty more reaction, and I have a feeling that's going to dominate tomorrow and Friday's shows as well. It's been a busy week. Haven't gotten to talk about the decommits, recruiting portal stuff. We'll table all that for tomorrow. But before we get out of here, Wes, it looked like you had a point right before we went to break. I know that was a long time ago, and we've talked about a lot of different things since then. Do you remember what you wanted to say?
Yes, it I think would be a further discussion, but real quick, maybe we can get into this tomorrow. I thought it was interesting. Beamer is always going to be a guy that's going to defend his guys, I feel like. But we did kind of, for the first time, hear him start to give a few of his opinions on what was wrong with the offense this year and basically say, hey, it has to be more consistent. And I don't think he used the word simplify necessarily, but when he talked about that and then combine that with something Logan said, I don't know the exact quote. He said, you can run a pro-style offense without all the verbiage. That just kind of caught my attention. We've heard all the different things about South Carolina needing to sort of simplify how they get to their plays. And I thought there were some interesting things from that comment to the comment like Preston was talking about the hashes and the different lengths there of transitioning, having some NFL concepts, but making it very college football player friendly is something I think we're going to explore this offseason.
Yeah, one question that I don't even know where to get an answer from this was something else we can talk about tomorrow, though. It's like, if you can call a play with 2 words, I don't know why you ever would use 17, even if you could, even if it's because you're in the NFL or whatever. Ding. Wes is saying, ding me. I turned the hotkeys down. Now they're back up. Ding. There we go. All right, cool. We have completed the show. We can't go through a show without a ding somewhere. So appreciate you all tuning in. I know it was a little bit of an abridged show today, but a lot more throughout the course of the day here on 107.5 The Game. We'll be back in full force as well tomorrow to dig more into what we heard from Dow Loggins and Shane Beamer as practice also kicks off for Carolina ahead of the Gator Bowl tomorrow. A lot to get to. Appreciate you listening. Halftime show's up next.